Joy, that's a very nice dress on a Friday, bright. I mean, looking forward to going into the weekend. That is really nice. Hey, Skip.
I love how Joy deflects your insincerity with just a thank you.
I'm for real. I'm truthful. Joy know I mean it. Every last word of it.
I'm going to need you guys to play nice this morning because I slept a little weird last night, so I don't have full mobility today. I
Really?
Neck, had to put some icy hot on.
Uh-oh.
I'm getting old, and so you're going to have to...
Well, if you stop sleeping on that futon.
You know what? I do have to stop taking naps on my couch. I think that's what it is. I'm too old for that.
Sorry about that.
And the boxing, you know.
Oh, now you Holly Holm or Chris Cyborg.
You can hear the shoulder clicking. So
that's from old age.
No, she is atomic brunette. That's who she is.
Working too hard. That's what it is. All right, let's get it started. Happy Friday. Let's get started with the latest on Ezekiel Elliott. Pro Football Talk is reporting that Elliott will definitely be suspended for a domestic abuse accusation from last summer. The NFL Network reports the suspension could come as early as today. Our own Chris Carter was here on Monday and said he was hearing a suspension would happen in 24 to 48 hours. All of this came after Jerry Jones said he did not expect Zeke to be suspended last week. Shannon, what do you expect will happen?
I expect Ezekiel Elliott to get suspended between 2 and 4 games. Now, some people speculate it might be more because in the guidelines which Commissioner Goodell came out with in 2014, the minimum is 6 games. Could be as many as 10. Mitigating circumstances moves it up or down. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be 2 to 4 games, Skip. And the thing is, people like, well, it's taking so long. Well, they've been trying to wrap this up for the longest. But Zeke keeps doing things that says, okay, paper just white out everywhere, Skip, because we think we're done here, and guess what? Well, Zeke pulled a lady's top down. Well, Zeke was reportedly in a bar fight and another, and then doing this.
100 miles an hour.
Yeah, that also. And Skip, one thing I know the commissioner learned from 2014 is that when he rushed to judgment in the Ray Rice case, okay, it's going to be 2 games. And then all of a sudden that tape comes out. And now all of a sudden he's like, this can't be 2 games. It's got to be 16 games. It's got to be the rest of the season. And then Ray Rice goes to court. The judge said, you can't do this. That new tape did not, another act did not happen. All it did was highlight the old act. So he won the case, but anyway, Ray Rice has not played since then. Skip, he can ill afford to have another 2014. He can ill afford to let nothing happen, and then pictures or something leaks out.
Yep.
He'll never overcome that, Skip. And I believe this, one of my favorite sayings is that you measure 10 times and cut once, as opposed to cutting 10 times because you measured once. And he's going to be very measured. He's going to be very methodical in this approach. And even if And it's being reported that it's going to be the domestic violence thing. That's what's going to trigger this big suspension. Skip, even if that wasn't the case, don't you think pulling a young lady's top down in public, isn't that unbecoming? Wait, how do you know she didn't tell him? Skip, I don't care what she told him. That's assault. You can't do that. And he doesn't seem to get it. I don't care what anybody says. It's not normal for a father to leave his wife and 2 daughters in Missouri and move to Columbus, Ohio with the son that's going to enroll in Ohio State to play football. That's not normal. Because normal behavior is that you feel as a parent, you feel you've done a good enough job and you've taught your child right from wrong and how to be a young adult that you feel very, very comfortable, Skip, sending them out. Because this is really going to be the first time they're going to be fully on their own. Because they're not going to be under your supervision. They're going to get the gun. Obviously, they got to go to school, Skip. But they're moving away from you. As a young adult, this is your opportunity to say, Mom, Dad, you've done a great job with me. You can have the utmost trust in me. And I'm going to do right by you and this last name, Elliott. Dad said, nah, I need to be there with you, bro. Because I'm not sure that you understand what's at stake here. And I'm not sure I can really totally all the way trust you. That's not normal behavior, Skip. I'm sorry. You can say, oh, that's just being a loving father. No, that's a father that does not trust his son. Did your mom move with you to Nashville? Oh, yo, she stayed in Oklahoma, did you? You're like, no, as a matter of fact.
She didn't even know.
She was ready. She was like,
no, she didn't know I even went to Nashville. Go ahead.
She was like, hey, I need to get you on out the door. Hey, you need some extra money, Skip?
She was out the door. Go ahead.
But, Skip, I mean, this is, in all sincerity, this is not a joking manner. And the NFL is going to have to come down because they're going to have to come down because Jerry Jones won't. That's why his players love playing with him so much, because he will forgive the worst behavior. The only time Jerry is upset at a player if he can't play on Sunday. Any other time, Jerry's going to vouch for you, because we've seen him hire people. Think about it, Skip. You're a professional athlete, and Jerry has to hire a chaperone to get you to and from. That's not normal. You're condoning. You're basically saying, as long as you show up for practice and you play for me, I'm willing to forgive anything else. Because you can say, well, that's not what Jerry's saying. That's absolutely what he's saying. Because as a professional, as a young man, you shouldn't have to have a chaperone. Jerry shouldn't have to have somebody to usher you to and from practice, get you to and from the game, make sure you're in at a reasonable hour. You're a professional athlete. You're a young adult. You should be able to do that on your own. So I'm not going to be surprised if Ezekiel Elliott gets anywhere between 2 and 4 games, because I believe that's what's going to happen.
As a non-Cowboy fan, you are loving this.
No, Skip,
I've never heard you relish talking about something the way you relished piling on the way you just piled on.
Skip, I don't like bad to happen to no one.
Stop.
But I foretold of this, because when I factored in 9 and 7, don't you think I factored this in?
No, you did not.
Okay.
You just went way out on a limb that was breaking underneath you, and you're saying, please, God, suspend him, please, God.
No, Skip. You know I wouldn't wish ill on anybody.
Yeah, stop it. So I did choose to wear all black today because I'm already in mourning, because I know it's coming. You know how I feel. My heart has said no, no, no. My head said from the start, yep. So here it comes. And look, I try to rationalize just from a football standpoint. I'm going to stand by my prediction. Again, let's just do the football first here. I believe that Darren McFadden and Alfred Morris and even little Ronnie Hillman, refugee from the Broncos, will give them enough of a running back by committee that they can survive for a while without Zeke. Just survive, not flourish, but survive. In fact, I think with this group, they could beat the Giants in the opener at Jerry World. I'm going to stand by that. But again, I'm going to call back what Chris Carter told us, that his information, which sounds like it was very good information, even though it didn't happen that quickly, it's very possible that his report might have pushed it back a little bit. Even Mike Florio, Football Talk, and from NBC, Pro Football Talk, said that his sources were telling him that it got pushed back because Chris reported it. Who knows? But the point is that Chris is saying that Lisa Friel, who oversees domestic violence now for the commissioner, is going to be the driving force behind laying out in detail what that investigative arm of the NFL has found out about the domestic violence engaged in by Ezekiel Elliott with the accusing woman. And yet, obviously, as we've heard, both the police department in Columbus, Ohio, and in Fort Lauderdale investigated and could not find enough credible evidence to charge in either city. So I'm back to where I was a few days back, which is the shock to me about all this is that Jerry Jones, the owner, obviously, the Hall of Fame now owner of the Dallas Cowboys, has not been non-committal about this issue from the start. He has been very committal about it. And in all my years of covering and writing books about Jerry Jones, I've never heard him so outspoken about any potentially dangerous issue for the Dallas Cowboys. He has been on the record from the start as saying there is nothing there about the domestic violence. And ESPN, the magazine, reported that at the league meeting back in, I believe it was October of this past football season, Jerry had a confrontation with one Lisa Friel, in which he went nose to nose with her, according to the report, and was giving the usual, there's nothing there, and that he concluded in that little confrontation to Lisa Friel, your bread and butter is going to get both of us thrown out in the street. And if I can sort of interpret that Jerryism, he's saying what you do best, which is investigate domestic violence, and she was hired post-Ray Rice 2014 to do just that for the commissioner.
Correct.
That your bread and butter is going to, so to speak, bite the hand that feeds all of us,
Right.
the National Football League, because you potentially are going to try to take down the young man who took the NFL by storm last year, whose jersey sales, merchandise sales are now up to number 2 on the list to Tom Brady. And this is just a gut feeling on my part. Jerry has been so outspoken about it. So has Steven. So has Jason Witten, a very conservative voice in that locker room. But just a couple days ago, his point was that he's fairly confident Zeke will be playing game 1. Wow, Jason Witten said that. Well, he's only going to say that if he heard it from the horse's mouth, from the owner, or maybe from Stephen Jones, the son. And I just believe that Jerry is going to fight this. If, in fact, that's what happens, and I'm waiting to see, because if there's domestic violence, then I'm out on Zeke. If you can show me chapter and verse, if you can detail it, if you have pictures, I don't know what you have. But if you can show me and tell me and convince me, then I am out on Ezekiel. And to your point, I thought it was supposed to be 6 games. I mean, if you bust somebody for out-and-out domestic violence, right?
Yep.
Doesn't it start at 6 games?
Yes, that's what he said. 6 games and mitigating circumstances can move it. It starts at 6, but mitigating circumstances can move it up or down. So it can be 4-2, or it can be 10, or it can be the season.
And in my conversation with Chris Carter from the start, going back several weeks ago, he was hearing originally from people inside 6 to 10. So he wouldn't be surprised, I think, if he were sitting here right now, if it went all the way up towards 10.
Wow.
Okay? Because I don't know the severity. All I know is that 2 police departments investigated and found not enough credible evidence.
Right.
And again, it always, not always, but in this case, it does seem to come down to she said and he said, right?
Right.
And if you believe the she said and you can back it up, then again, I'm out. I'm with you. It should be whatever the maximum should be.
But Chris Carter also said there was something that he was electronically he was supposed to turn over, and somehow it ended up being destroyed or not being able to.
So now we're back to Deflategate.
Right, right.
Okay. So I pointed out the other day, Jerry was the first owner and the only owner to go renegade on the National Football League and challenge revenue sharing in court, along with Phil Knight and Nike. Naming rights. I'm going to challenge you on this. I want 100% of what I'm earning over here, because we're earning a whole lot more as America's team than all these other teams are combined.
Correct.
So I challenge you. I sue you. I take you to court. Jerry won.
Yes.
Not completely, but he won enough that he got to keep a lot of the revenue sharing and the naming rights.
I don't blame Jerry. Skip, the way I look at it is like this here. Okay, whatever we get as a corporation, NFL, TV contracts, Nike, all the uniforms, all that stuff, Verizon or whomever else, the tab, Microsoft. Okay, but if I just do a deal exclusively, I got Coca-Cola. You think I'm about to share that with 31 other teams when I went negotiating?
All right, fine.
They must be crazy.
Okay, but the law was the NFL law,
yeah, it was.
and everybody fell in line, and even Mr. Kraft always says, I'm a league man. Jerry wasn't a league man.
No.
That's why I'm a little surprised he got in the Hall of Fame, but he challenged it, and he won. That was in '95.
But the writers love him.
Well, they love him because he's a quote machine.
Exactly. He makes your job real easy, Skip.
He can. But I always say this about Jerry. He's prone to saying dumb things, but he ain't stupid.
No.
So, especially when it comes to league matters and business matters and court matters, Jerry ain't stupid. So, when I try to do 2 + 2 = 4, my 2, Jerry being this outspoken about there's nothing there, plus 2 that he challenged the league and won, equals 4, he just might do it again. What if he takes this to court? What if he says, our legal system found nothing twice on this young man? How, Lisa Friel, did you and your investigators find this? I don't know. And again, I'm not trying to overly defend Ezekiel, because just remember my stance on Greg Hardy. After I read that woman's testimony, and again,
Heard the 911 call?
all of it, it was so damning. It was so disgusting, so egregious that I said, as a Cowboy fan, please don't sign Greg Hardy. Don't bring him in here. And Jerry brought him in.
Right.
And you know the rest of the story. It blew up in Jerry's face, because he was a nightmare from the start.
Yep.
And certainly not repentant in any way, shape, or form and continue to express that kind of behavior.
Yeah. But Skip, here's the thing. If you start to look for something, you go in someone's house and you say, don't go in there, don't go in there, don't look there. What are you going to do, Skip? When Jerry Jones tells Lisa Friel, excuse me, stop looking, there's nothing there,
Yeah.
what do you think she's going to do? She's going to look and dig a little deeper. So here's the thing, Skip. Okay, if I just tell you on his face, I'm not going to say any name. There was an alleged assault took place in Ohio. There's another alleged assault that took place in Florida. There was a young man that pulled a lady's top down at a St. Patrick's Day parade. There's there are two more incidents where someone from the Cowboys was allegedly involved in a bar fight. Now, if it's 3, 4 different guys, you're like, well, okay. But how does the same guy this keeps happening to? That's not a coincidence. The old saying is, Skip, you got to practice real hard to get all these coincidences. This is not a coincidence,
No,
Skip.
I agree. But I think the severity of the suspension is going to only deal with domestic violence,
Right.
domestic assault.
Right.
That I think, because that's the rest of it is just a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a whole where there's a lot of smoke, there's some fire. It's starting to add up, but not add up to a 6-game suspension.
Right.
If you're going to go to 6 or 8 or 10,
Right.
you're going to do domestic violence.
Right.
You're going to have details.
Right.
You're going to have to lay out a very convincing case, and they well might here in a few minutes. They might.
But here's the thing, Skip. How am I, and the NFL and Lisa Friel looking at you like, Jerry, how can we believe your investigation? You said you had investigated Lucky Whitehead, and you felt real comfortable that he had done what he was alleged to have done and moved on. See, the reason, now look, Lucky Whitehead and Ezekiel Elliott, they're 2 different players.
I know. Remember, it's apples to oranges because Lucky had several little minor things going on, and he's a minor contributor.
But here's the thing. Not at any time during all those minor things did they release him. Even when he missed late for the flight, they suspended him. What did he do, Skip? He played the next week. He played in the playoffs. All those things that were going on, somehow the Cowboys were willing to overlook it. This was...
Yeah, but just the week before, he had the weird kidnapped pit bull story.
Yeah, they kidnapped the man dog, Skip. I mean, if somebody kidnapped Hazel, you be all FS1, bring Hazel back. Bring Hazel back.
Kidnapped by a Fort Worth rapper whose name escapes me, but sorry. I asked Nelly if he'd heard of him. No, he hadn't heard of him. But anyway.
Bugatti something?
Yeah, Bugatti.
Bugatti
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, but
Okay.
spelled like B-O-O.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though, Skip. So I'm just saying, once Jerry said there's nothing there,
You know,
why is he so adamant that there's nothing there? Why don't you just say, hey, do your investigation, and then I'll just let the chips fall where they may? But
I don't know. You're right.
You know why.
Well, again, it was coming across to me, and I told you again and again, you're daring them, right?
Yeah.
You're challenging them ahead of the suspension to prove it.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing there. I dare you to suspend my star running back, and maybe one of the biggest stars you have now in your league.
Right.
Right? Salvation Army Kettle, Ezekiel Elliott, Thanksgiving Day, right?
Yeah, that's a what you call them. That's a
Now
penalty now.
it's a penalty.
But Skip, I remember when we were growing up, my grandma used to tell us, boy, don't go in my closet.
Mm-hmm.
Why she didn't want us to go in that closet?
What was in there?
She
That's what I
had,
want to know.
had money,
Oh.
silver dollars.
Oh, I thought you meant go in your closet.
No, go in her closet.
Right.
She had chewing tobacco, some snuff.
So it doesn't sound like you listened.
Oh,
Did you get into it?
How'd you know all that was in there?
all she had to do was just don't say anything, Skip, and I would have never done it. So I knew she was hiding something in that closet, and I needed to see.
I don't know. Jerry sounded very confident about it, so there is a chance, I guess, that they know something that he doesn't know.
Yeah, I'm
in
pretty
these
sure.
Specific situations with domestic violence, like you said, it's a he said, she said situations. In most cases, unless there are a bunch of witnesses, so the police have limitations that maybe Lisa Friel doesn't
Maybe
have.
not.
Remember with the Ray Rice situation, you know, the police can't release that type of
No.
stuff, but TMZ has no rules.
Well, you remember now, the NFL couldn't even get that tape. TMZ released the tape.
Supposedly.
Supposedly, but
See, they didn't
but
want
they
to look.
operate by different rules.
Right.
So, you know, there could be something here, and we'll find out soon.
They're going to spend their money.
Are we ready to say Mitchell Trubisky will be a franchise quarterback in Chicago? We'll debate that.